Okay, take four. This is almost impossible to get through and stay politically correct because there's so many hot words for the algorithm. If the algorithm picks up something, this is the Whoopi Goldberg story. She just got 2 weeks off for talking about I'll say the issues of the war years, the issues of war. What's a word I can substitute? I'll just say the war stuff. She got 2 weeks off, and who knows? During those 2 weeks, she might retire. Would probably be the best call. This is kind of a weird story because there's so many. If I'm the one pulling the strings, the man behind the curtain, the puppet masters, I wouldn't want to bring attention to this. And it's kind of weird that they chose to bring attention to this. So she was talking on The View, and she's not a historian or a political expert. None of the people working on the show, they're just kind of talking about really light pop culture. Nobody expects anything deep from them. So I don't know why you would suspend her for 2 weeks for making a very milquetoast comment about it. She didn't understand. She's black, and she views all people who are fair-skinned as all white people. And though she feels comfortable judging all people like that, because she is at the top, or at least she thought she was at the top of this purse puppy privilege hierarchy, but she learned who holds the whip hand. But what I mean by this is, it's dealing with people from the Middle East, people from Eastern Europe, Northern Europe, Mediterranean, Western Europe, Central Europe. And because they all have the same skin tones, roughly, she's calling them all white people. But we all view each other as different. That's why I don't even use that term. I don't use a color to describe people anymore. I just use specific terms like, European people as a whole when we're referring to them, or Eurasians as a whole when you're talking about the big, broad categories. But she's not Eurasian, so she's kind of viewing everyone with the same skin tone and the same eye folds, the same rough external morphology. To her eyes, they're all fitting in this category. That's why she made the comment she made, which honestly wasn't such a big deal because she's not a political expert. She's just kind of a dummy. Like everyone on the show is kind of a dummy. So I don't know, like you're asking a, let me say, a duck to juggle. It's just not going to, you can't get mad at the duck when she's not going to juggle correctly. So how this thing got started was a school district, for some reason, decided to ban Art Spiegelman's Mouse, which is a comic book about the war issues. And so for whatever reason, maybe they thought like a comic book presentation wasn't the right presentation. Kind of a weird using anthropomorphic, like the guy Brian Jocks who did Redwall. So for whatever reason, they decided to ban it. Fair enough. That's the school can do whatever they want to. They don't want to use any certain books in the curriculum. There's plenty of other books about war in that theater that you can talk about. It's not a big deal. And then so they're going on the show, and immediately the whole shtick of the show is to say F white people, F white people, F white people. And then what turned it around was Whoopi Goldberg, who's obviously African, says, oh yeah, and you're all white people to her. Like all these, I'll say Mediterranean, Eastern Europeans, and Middle Easterns. They're all just white people. And like, she's able to say that. That's privilege, is to be able to say something so monumentally stupid like that and not even comprehend that it would be offensive to the various peoples of Europeans. Don't want to be called Middle Easterners, and Middle Easterners don't want to be called Europeans, and they don't want to be called Russians, and they don't want to be called Turkish. They're all their own people, but she's so privileged that she thought she could say that, and she didn't realize like who's really pulling the strings. And it's not, it's all the white people at ABC. Well, no, European people don't run ABC, and she learned that in these 2 weeks. So she made her comments. And then she immediately starts groveling. And then Kim Godwin says she's got 2 weeks off, which, is so humiliating. If I was Whoopi, I'd just be like, all right, I'm just going to retire and do a podcast or something. So what she said wasn't, okay, so Tennessee decided not to use a comic book to talk about World War II. That's a pretty reasonable approach. For whatever reason, it's a comic book. It's like, it's not the end of the world if you use other material to talk about what happened in World War II, or, really I would focus on the Japanese atrocities, which to me are much more relevant. But So she said the issue wasn't about race because in her head, she sees all of us as all the same because we have the same skin tone. But ultimately in today's modern year, to identify other people for them, well, you don't get to identify other people. Everyone can identify themselves. So if you're Russian, Polish, or German, you're all this different people. You all view yourselves as different people. But Whoopi Goldberg would all. That's why I don't use that term white to refer to people. I want to be very specific when referring to people, even if it's broad classes. Like the broadest class would be Eurasian, then European, but really it'd be Eastern European, Northern, Central, Western, Mediterranean. Always define yourself any way you want to, and don't let other people define you because they don't know you. They don't know your experience. Everyone in their own way. You have to use kind of their lexicon against them. If you're whatever part of Europe you're from, you can find a way to say, yes, I'm a marginalized and oppressed, disenfranchised person from Eastern Europe. We were marginalized and oppressed, disenfranchised by communism, and before communism by that religion from the South that we must not be named on YouTube. And that's, I have post-traumatic stress that's carried on from being oppressed by the Bolshevik for 100 years, and it's passed down. It's inherited trauma from being slaves to communists. And you say that with a straight face. It's like they say the same thing about their thing, and it's like it's all bullshit. No matter it's all bullshit or it's not bullshit. It all depends on whether you want to take it seriously or not. But if they're going to put these rules on the table, then you get to play by them also. I don't know if any of this can go in. This is so hard to talk about because you're dealing with really, algorithmically speaking, all these topics are like really super hot topic issues. So it's kind of hard to put this on YouTube. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Go to the Discord, Odyssey, Rumble, Telegram, or Bit Chute.